stuff. And I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm glad I'm bringing a lot of change of shit right now.
Yeah.
And the safety guy comes up to me, and like anybody in any blue collar work knows that when safety comes around, it's not really good.
Damn it.
It's like when a cop pulls you over, you're like, I don't think I did anything wrong, but I'm sure I did.
Yep, I know I did. How long have you been watching? That will tell me how much shit I'm in trouble for.
Yeah. And with refineries, it's crazy too, because you're sitting there like, if you pulled out your phone to check the time, you'll be fired, no questions. There's another guy they'll bring in.
Damn.
That's why it sucks, because I almost wish I got into content more before, because I have no welding content.
Yeah.
Like the more geeky marketing side of me, I'm like, man, I wish.
Yeah. They'd fire you on the spot for pulling your phone out, huh?
Yep. Damn. And there were people that I watched it happen to. They didn't care, because a big part of it too is like, I'm sure like intellectual property stuff that goes on in there.
They don't want people snapping photos of shit, huh? That's a big thing. I gotcha.
But it was like the security was crazy, because to me, I'm like, I'm just welding, you know, but maybe that it was a refinery or whatever.
Yeah, I get that.
But I mean, it's also smart. There's a lot of things going on. You don't need anyone distracted.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, go ahead and get distracted as a fire watch and let the entire city blow up.
Right.
You know, so that kind of thing.
I get it. Yeah.
But so he comes around and he's like, listen, man, you're not looking good. Like, nah, I'm just a really sweaty person. And I even said, I was taking a lot of thermogenics at the time. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I think I just took too much thermogenics. I'm going to bring down, you know, that in my stack a little bit. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, okay. So, listen,
I know what an unhealthy person looks like. Yeah. You look like shit. Come with me.
Here's how bad it was. So like, it's like a button-up welding shirt, right? Yep. So not like the green ones. It's like a button-up shirt, but it's FR. So it's fire rated and everything, right? The collar, my throat was so swollen, like my lymph nodes in my throat were so swollen that it was like pulling them out.
Oh shit.
And dude, to me, I'm not looking.
He recognized that.
Yeah. But check this out. I was going so hard, I wasn't even looking at myself in a mirror long enough to notice that. And the safety guy immediately was like, yo, that's not normal. Whatever that is. He's like, you got a bug bite? And I'm like, oh, yeah, it must be a bug bite. And I'm feeling him. I'm like, oh, geez.
Yeah.
So now that he's like, listen, I'm going to need you to go to the hospital. I'm like, I'm going to be honest. I'm pretty exhausted right now. My helper's kind of been doing a lot of driving. It's going to take me a bit, because I'm going to drive slow. Because like I'm so dog tired that it was like, I also, a little side note, got like this issue where I fall asleep driving a lot, or I definitely was back then.
Sure.
And so I'm like, man, I'm like nervous to drive to this hospital, because then I got to go into town to do it. And
you tell this guy that?
No, not the safety guy.
Okay,
you don't.
You can't tell him anything.
It's like a cop. You don't tell him anything. Tell him as little as
I'm
possible.
fine. I'll be fine.
Yeah. So then check this out. We go to the hospital, and they immediately start running blood work. And I'm like, God, this isn't good. Yeah. This really isn't good, because they can't figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
They then come in. Now realize this is my first time away from my family like this across country. It's just me. I'm alone, whatever. But it's cool. I think everybody should do that. Different topic, but everybody should get uncomfortable that way. But they then give me the...
they bring a priest in, say, hey, son, not looking good, buddy.
Well, they're like, I mean, basically it was that talk with the doctor. He's like, listen, I'm just going to give you a heads up now. This is not looking good. And I'm like,
oh, geez.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What do you mean not looking good? And he goes, your blood work is terrible. We're going to take some more and run some other blood work. But right now, your blood work is, saying this might be cancer, man, and pretty far.
Damn.
And I'm like, whoo. Like even right now, it kind of gives me the goosebumps, because I'm sitting there, and there was a school shooting threat at my younger sibling's school. So like I was kind of going through some stuff where I'm like, oh man, life could be really short. And then I get that news, and I'm like, man, I'm away from everybody.
I want to cut off your story, but I have a story similar to that. So I want to make sure I bring that back up. And Ace, make sure I bring that up.
So it's like in that, it's like, man, life is short. My grandfather died extremely quick from cancer right after he retired.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. That's the worst.
So, and well, in all of that, they end up, luckily, it just comes back that I was so sick and ignored it for so long. I had an extremely severe case of just mono. But it was to the point where...
And mono's always been... You always hear about mono being bad, like really bad.
And my bones were aching. And here I'm
raw dogging it, pushing through.
And I'm still working out.
Yeah,
it was insane. Like I remember...
Were they able to go back and figure out how long they think you had it for?
They said it was probably about like 3 weeks, like pretty severe.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, mono's kind of an older thing. I don't think I've heard too many cases of mono in the past decade or so. But like growing up as a kid, you'd hear about mono, and it was like the diagnosis was bed rest for a week at a time.
Yeah. Yep.
It was not take some pills, you'll be fine. It's fucking lay in a bed, don't move. That's what you're supposed to do for mono.
Yeah.
You always hear about mono. Oh yeah, get mono, and the kid's out of school for a month, right?
Yep.
Lay in a fucking bed. That's what you do. So here you are working, 80 hours a week, go to the gym every day. That's wild.
Yeah. Well, and it's so growing up, I had a twin. So it's basically keep twins as busy as possible.
Okay.
That's the parenting suggestion I have. And my parents did all year round sports. When maybe it was in between seasons, we're still competing with each other. So we're training in between to make sure we're better. And it was a very competitive household in that sense. So they end up telling me, listen, it's been probably about 3 weeks. You're really bad. I can't even remember if they put me on anything to maybe help, but like you said, it was
bed rest.
They're saying like, you got to take, so they say bed rest, but so that's what they tell me.
Yeah.
You know what I hear? That's what a pussy would do.
There are these doctors who've gone to school for all these years, spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to be trained, treated thousands of people, but I'm just a pussy. I'm not.
But no, Cody knows more for sure.
Yeah, Cody. I got.
So here's
what blue collar roots, man.
Well, so here's what I do. I go, thank
That's
you.
more gym time, man.
Well, I'm thinking, I'm thinking that's suggestion.
Yeah.
Because in my head, let's be honest, we all ignore things the doctors say, right?
No.
So I go back to work. I clock in, I scan in, I start working again. Like nothing happened. I also made sure, like, how is this transmitted? With my girl being a nurse, that's most likely what I got it from, or a drinking fountain at the gym, because it's got to be passed to you through. Yeah. So I'm like, it's most likely, something that she picked up from work, whatever. Who knows? Maybe she was, kissing somebody she was helping.
Somebody, never know, right?
So I'm like, well, I'm not going to be doing anything like that. I'll make sure I'm not sharing stuff with coworkers. Like I'll make sure I mark my water bottles, that type of thing.
Yeah. Be the responsible person. No, never mind the bed rest, but
be
responsible,
Well, so I go to work, and then as soon as I scan in, it must have set off something. They come down from the hill and, hey, Cody, so what'd they say? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, they just said
chicken pox, boss. Don't worry, it was just chicken pox.
Like, man, well, and then I set it up right? I'm like, well, at first they thought it was cancer, and he's like, oh my gosh, and then I was like, no, but it ended up just, being just a little bit of a sickness. I'll just make sure I keep my P's and Q's. And he's like, well, what kind of sickness? And I'm like, you're asking questions I got to answer.
Yep.
And to be clear, I was trying not to answer, and he said, I need, when you go there, make sure that you get it's like high school. They wanted a medical release.
Yep.
So I show him the medical release. He's like, you showed up with mono to our job site? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden he tells me to go to his office. The owner of the business that you never, ever see.
It's never good news.
He shows up. He sits me down, he said, listen, I know where your head's at. This was kind of an interesting way to be introduced to really like the oil industry and how everybody looks at things. He goes, I know you're new, so I'm going to give you a cut on this time. There was two younger kids, probably honestly their late 20s, running this massive empire. And he says, listen, I respect what you're doing, so I'm not going to fire you. Anybody else I would have fired. You're risking us getting more people sick. That's how we look at it. Not you're a man and you're getting through it. So I understand what you're doing. Mm-hmm. We're going to need you to take that recommendation, and we're going to be forcing you off for 3 weeks. And I just moved there.
Yeah.
I didn't save up much money. I still had to get a truck. I went there with nothing. I got an apartment, all that type of stuff. And so I don't have money. I'm like, do I get my per diem? Like, do I get any pay? And he goes, no, but you have your job when 3 weeks is up. Yeah. And I'm like,
if you make it.
Shit. Right.
Model's not looking good, buddy.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was the reason I bring all of that up. Isn't just I work myself in the hospital. That was my aha moment.
Yeah.
Yours was numbers, which kind of also makes sense why you're at where you're at, right?
Yeah.
Mine was having to drive myself to the ground and end up in the hospital.
Yeah, so mine was kind of twofold. I always forget about this because I kind of overlook how important this part of the story is, but similar story where I kind of worked myself almost to exhaustion.
Yeah.
And I'm taking so much fucking caffeine just to stay awake. And I'm going to get to the punchline here, but same thing. I had an Apple Watch at the time. We're doing nothing at work. I'm watching wire come in. It's a nothing task. It's a visual task, no physical exertion. Okay, I'm in a truck watching wire come in, waiting for it to get up there. When it gets up there, I want to go up there and catch it off, right? So I got my harness on, I'm in the truck waiting. As soon as the wire gets there, I'm going to boom up, catch it off, and be ready to go. Okay. So while I'm watching, this is like a 30-minute process. It's a long pull.
Okay.
Wire gets closer. I'm looking at my watch and I'm getting ready to check the time, but I get an alert saying my fucking heart rate's like 130. I'm just sitting there.
Jeez.
Like 130. Oh, this thing working? And then I can't get it to come down. Now I'm fucking panicking. So I'm like, well, boys, think this is it? We're having a fucking heart attack. So I fucking left work, drive myself to the hospital, and I don't tell anybody where I'm going. I'm like, hey guys, I'm not feeling good. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
And I was a foreman. I was pretty high up. And
so you had the ability to step away.
Yeah. And I told my crew, hey guys, I'm not feeling too hot, which they knew that was a big deal because I never, ever did that. But I'm calling
Mom didn't raise no bitch over there.
Yeah, I'm calming myself down, telling this guys, so I'm like, hey, you guys are going to be cool. Wire comes in, you go up, catch the wire off. Here's take my harness, whatever. I'll be fine, guys. Let's go get something checked out. I'm not feeling too hot. They're all like, damn, dude, you all right, man? Like, this is not, I've never done that before, right?
Yeah.
So they knew something was up, but I'm like, fuck off, I'm fine, So I drive myself to the hospital, and I'm working way out.
When you're trying to convince yourself that you're going to be fine.
I know, yeah. I'm like, fucking leave me alone, guys. I'm working through some shit here. So I ended up driving myself. I was working way out east, way the fuck out there. It was like, from my house in Berthoud, it was an hour and a half east.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of the town. Straight down 52. And we get off at I-25 and Highway 52 to go straight east fucking forever. So I'm way out there. I'm looking for a hospital. I call the wife, hey, find me a hospital on the way home. She goes, what do you mean? I'm like, just I don't have time. And I'm really good.
I want to explain.
Yeah. I'm also really good on my phone, multitasking, texting and driving. Don't recommend that. But I can do it.
Yeah.
So she knows. Allegedly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's allegedly. Never done it officially, only allegedly. But when I call her to ask for that information, she knows I can do that on my own. She gets weirded out. I'm like, hey, just don't ask any questions.
Help
find
me.
I'm on this road. Find me the closest hospital. Cool. She does. So I park. I walk in ER, and I'm feeling it now. Now I'm also working myself up more and more as I'm getting closer and closer. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I'm not feeling good. I'm starting to sweat. And I walk in, a nurse at the front desk, and there's a whole wait, like 30 people in the waiting room. It's full. I'm like, God damn, I'm here all fucking day. I want to just walk
die in the hospital.
Yeah, I'm fucking not gonna make it here. So I'm like, what's the problem? I said, I don't know. I don't feel good. She says, what do you mean you don't feel good? I said, I think I'm having a heart attack. She goes, have a seat. Fill out my name, whatever. It's like first and last name, sit down. 30 seconds later, doors open up, wheelchair comes in, put me in a wheelchair, wheel me. I'm like, I bypass everybody. And I'm like, what the fuck? So now I'm more worried. Like, why? I just skipped, dude. This old lady's coughing. Like,
now I know if I need to go to the doctor, I'm just gonna say I'm having a heart attack.
Oh yeah,
that's it's just a broken finger.
Allegedly, that's the hack. You tell me you think you're having a heart attack, they'll treat you really quickly. Shit. So I go in right away, and part of the story is funny because I hate giving blood. Like, you look at me and like, oh, this guy's got tattoos, he's lifting weights, right? Like, I hate giving blood. I'm a gigantic pussy when it comes to giving, and I'll own that, right? But whenever I do it, I use this arm. There's a vein right here that works, and I can turn my head, do this. We're not talking about this. We're talking about ice cream and blowjobs over here. Like,
oh
it's fine,
my
right?
God, that's hilarious.
I can get through it.
Yeah.
Okay? When they sit me down, they're stabbing this arm, and I don't do this. Arm veins over here. It's just different for me.
Yeah.
I've conditioned myself that this is okay.
You're disassociated from that arm.
It's a whole different fucking world. So now they've got the fucking finger monitor. My heart rate's still like 120, 130. Doctor's trying to talk to me on this side. Hey man, what's going on? I'm like, listen. Nothing's going to get better until she stops. She's poking me a couple different pokes.
And she's missing
it.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. So I'm like, and I'm, fucking not giving her the arm. And she's like wrestling me like an alligator. And I'm like, nothing's going to get better until she stops fucking poking me. He goes, well, nothing's going to happen until you let her get the IV going,
Right.
So then I finally calmed down and went from like the alarms are going off, right? So she has the IV and I kind of calm down. She leaves. And then they go, hey man, just hang tight for a minute. We're going to check your blood work now and see what's going on. Because they're checking for the enzyme to see if you actually already had a heart attack.
Right. Okay.
That comes back negative. I'm like, okay, that's good news, But now my heart rate's down a little bit, but not really. So I'm laying in the bed waiting for all this shit to go on. I'm got the heart, and then, I'm fucking 35 at the time, maybe whatever it was, 35, 30, whatever. Like, is this it? Is this all of it? Like, this is the fucking end of it, right? Like, all that shit I worked. I know what got me here. I know what got me here is it's fucking working. Like, I know I didn't. This isn't a health thing. This is a work thing. All this work put me here, and all I've been trying to do is work. So like, pissed me off, right? But I'm like, get a little teary eyed. I got wife and kids. I'm like, man, this is it, huh? That's pretty fucked. So then he comes back, and my heart rate comes down a little bit, and he goes, man, you're healthy. Like, nothing's wrong. Like, we're kind of stumped here. Like, let's talk through what this might be, you know?
What's your day look
I'm
like?
yeah,
How much coke did you do?
Well, he asked me, any drugs?
Right,
I'm like, nah, man. Like, I'll be honest, never done drugs in my life, ever. And that's honestly God's truth. No drugs ever. And I'm like, he goes, what's your day start like? I'm like, well, I wake up at 5 a.m. He goes, I drive to work. Drive to work's an hour and a half. What do you drink on the way to work? I said, well, I'll tell you, boss. I said, coffee stopped working. I brought an Nespresso machine. I'd make a mug of Nespresso. It was like 3 or 4 cartridges. He goes, a mug? Those are like shots, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that gets me to work. He goes, okay.
That gets me
He
to
goes,
work.
that's it for the day, huh? I'm like, no. I said, then about 9 o'clock, I'll crack open a yellow Rockstar. He goes, oh, okay. I said, then on the way home, or midday, I'll have another one. All right. Then time to go to the gym, I have my pre-workout. Because how much is that? He goes, I don't know. I'm starting to count. That's like 2,000 milligrams of caffeine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a normal day. You know, working 7 days a week. Every day's the same. He's like, how long you been doing that for? I said, I don't know, a version of that for the better part of 15 years. He's like, yeah, man. He goes, he starts kind of laughing. He goes on the shoulder, taps on the shoulder, goes, you're going to be just fine. Just cool on the caffeine a little bit. So like he was making light of a pretty situation.
Right. That's a good doctor. Yeah.
And he's like kind of laughing it off. But he's like, you see where you're at, fuckface? Like, calm down.
Yeah.
So part of that was like, okay, yeah, some of that was to an extreme, but I was just really trying to stay awake and try to keep going and go to the gym. And like, if I'm going all these working hours, make sure I go to the gym, like keep healthy, all that thing. Well, overdoing a caffeine. So that scared me to be cold turkey, no caffeine for 6 months. That day.
How was the week after that? Damn straight.
But I would chug water. I would chug the water and I was fine. It would help out. But then I introduced black coffee after that. Just black coffee.
Yeah.
And to this day, I'm probably, max a day would be 500 milligrams max.
Yeah.
And normally it's less than that because it's usually just a pre-workout.
Yeah.
Just one pre-workout for the gym in the morning. That's my day. And it's just like, it's totally brought me back to normal because it was so
extreme.
And also that first pre-workout after 6 months was like a